program in Milwaukee is a very controversial issue. Governor Scott Walker is looking to extend the program, while other lawmakers see no clear benefits. The premise of the choice program is to allow parents to send their kids to another school rather than the public schools in their district, which they feel would not educate their children well. We interviewed Mr. Jay Reed, head of school at Eastbrook Academy, a highly successful choice school, and he shed some light on what contributes to the success of choice at his school.
What we try to do here at Eastbrook is not to let people know who's in the choice program and who's part of the private pay, that we're all one community here. Being a combination of private and choice, I think that is very beneficial to our student body and to our success rate. I think as well that we have our main intake be in the K-4, or kindergarten 4-year-old, and they establish what our culture is, they know what our expectations are, and they know what our rules are, and then they'll be able to follow those and go through with that. And then we also have high expectations, and whether you come from the city or the suburbs, poor family, rich family, if you have the same expectations, they're going to be able to be met if you keep them high.
Mrs. Danielle Curtis, the director of admissions, also echoes these same things.
I think the choice program is good for schools because it gives parents an opportunity to choose the school and be involved in the education of their children. That's always a good thing. And it gives them options that may not have been available to them without the choice program, if they could not afford tuition or if they were outside the district, etc. So I think it's a good program.
Why do you think Eastbrook is succeeding while other choice programs really aren't doing that well or have a bad rep, as you would say?
I see this as two parts. So I think Eastbrook is succeeding because we have the same standard for all of our students and families. So we hold to the same expectations, whether you're choice or private pay. So the academic standards, the community involvement, parent involvement, all of that remains the same no matter how our students come in. And we really don't make a distinction of our families or our students once they enter into our school doors. So I think that some of the schools that are in the choice program that have not been successful have really struggled because of poor curriculum, poor administration, poor management. Children in the choice program, whether they're city or suburban, are able to rise to higher standards. We just need to have the structures in place to encourage them and support them in their efforts.
Christian Arvo, the spiritual leader at Hope Christian Schools, provides insight into the unique opportunities that choice students receive.
Our school wouldn't exist if we didn't have the choice program. We've got currently one high school, 4 elementary schools in Milwaukee. We have one in Racine, that's an elementary school. And so network-wide, we have less than 5 students that pay tuition. The choice is given to families that meet a certain percentage of the state's poverty line. So in a sense, it's arguing that everyone should have a choice, but it assumes that if your family is above the poverty line that you can afford a private education. So there's an aspect of that argument that I find compelling, that why shouldn't all families in Wisconsin have a choice? If your local school is not going to give your family, your child, what you think your kid deserves, you should have an option to take the state's money and go to the private school. You've got less students. Overall, you can get more attention given to students. Part of the benefit of being a private school is that we can set certain requirements, certain criteria, if you will, that other schools can't necessarily do. So we have our handbook that outlines if families are going to send their students to our school, here are the expectations. And if students repeatedly fall short or don't meet those expectations, unfortunately there are times when they don't remain a student. But for friends or people I know that teach at public schools, those seem to be a couple of the big things that are different.
Do you have an idea where some of the students might be if they were not at your school? Or
a lot of the time, majority of the time, the students that stick it out and they graduate from us, they'll tell you that if they hadn't gotten to Hope, they may not have finished high school, or if they did, they wouldn't have finished high school. prepared for college in the way that we can get them prepared. I think where students come from, or typically when they leave us, that they go back to, is they end up back in public schools that aren't as attentive to the things that we are, that don't hold them to the same expectations that we do, that generally just aren't, they're not preparing them for life after high school.
Despite the benefits of choice, opponents of choice reference that a large number of schools that have closed have only been open for a short amount of time. This diverges money from public education and transfers them to failing schools. School leaders hope to avoid an us versus them mentality, but this is an inevitable issue. Yeah!